Welcome to In the Spotlight. My name is Heather Boushey, and I'm Senior Economist at the Center for American Progress. I'm sitting in today for Jody Levin-Epstein, who's Spotlight's regular host. Among the issues that I work on are paid leave and the scheduling of workers, which are issues that our guests here today from the Retail Action Project confront each and every day. As an economist, I know that these kinds of issues are what's core to propelling our economy forward. They're not soft, they're not side issues, they're at our core. So I want to start by introducing our guests. So in the spotlight today, we have Carrie Gleason, who's the Executive Director at the Retail Action Project. We have Tamara Green, who's a member of the Retail Action Project. And we have Malik Goomdah, who is a founding member of the Board of Directors of the Retail Action Project. So welcome, and it's very exciting to have this conversation here this afternoon. I want to start with you, Carrie. I want you to tell us a little bit about what is the Retail Action Project? Why do you all exist? What are you doing? Tell us a little about what your mission is.
Sure. Well, the Retail Action Project is an organization of retail workers. We're dedicated to improving the standards and the opportunities in the retail industry. Many people don't realize that 1 in 10 American workers are employed by the retail sector. I think fewer people would be surprised by the fact that it's also the largest employer of low-wage workers in this country. And it's playing an even greater role in our economy now, especially as it's one of the few job-creating industries putting Americans back to work. And what we're finding is that as this industry is growing, the quality of jobs is really declining. And that's our mission at the Retail Action Project, is really to take it on. That the retail workers were seeing their hours cut, we're struggling with no benefits on low wages, and we weren't seeing improvements in sight.
What have you accomplished? What are the things that you just want people to know about that you've really done?
Yeah. Well, in the fall of 2011, Malik was one of the many members that participated in the discounted jobs research that we did jointly with the City University of New York. Our members surveyed over 400 retail workers across the city, and we tracked major trends that were impacting workers employed by major retailers. And that was we received unprecedented coverage of our findings. It's been able to really shed the light on the latest trends that are happening in retail on a broad scale level. And so that's been pretty exciting. From that report launch, we've then been able to be engaged more on a policy level. So we had a member of the Retail Action Project, Kimberly Ortiz, was invited to participate in the Senate Help Committee's Mother's Day hearing, and she shared her story about working as a low-wage worker at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. And it was really exciting. We felt like there was a conversation that really moved among our elected officials around the desperate need for paid sick days, paid leave for service industry workers. We've also really expanded our programming. So we serve hundreds of retail workers every month through our career development programming. Retail is actually a skilled job. Many people don't realize that. And so in our courses that happen every week, we do significant workforce development work, and we've been able to both revalue the skills and help people move up the industry tiers. I'll talk later a little bit about our sustainable scheduling campaign.
So, after working in this area, how is it that you think the public responds to retail workers? Like, do you think that, how much work do you have to do to convince them that these are important jobs that have skills and that have value? What's your take on that?
Well, it's really interesting because everyone interacts with retail workers every day, and so many people have worked retail, but people surprisingly don't understand the experience of being a retail worker. I think that they don't understand the level of skill, the level of how labor intensive it is, the multitasking, what really it takes to work on the sales floor every day. And so what we're really trying to do is make retail workers more visible. I think that in spite of the fact that people interact with retail workers every day, they don't recognize that they're engaging with a with a person. And so many of the problems that our members face are the result of the fact that that you're not seeing the people in front of you helping you, buy your groceries or pick out a new pair of shoes. And so we're really trying to spotlight that. I think there's also this expectation where, because the conditions have been declining in the industry for so long, that there's this expectation, well, retail is just retail, and they don't know all of the members that are part of the Retail Action Project that have had good retail jobs and put their kids through college and bought homes. And that's because those opportunities are shrinking. And so we're really also about really preserving the good jobs in the industry and creating new opportunities. But a part of the challenge is just elevating the public's expectations of this industry.
So I wanted to talk to you, Tamara, and to you, Malik. Do you have the ability to earn paid sick days on your jobs?
I haven't had ability to earn paid sick days. If you look at what I have gone through recently, I just have a new baby with my wife, and I actually scheduled my unpaid vacation around my wife's due date. But my wife the baby happened to come before even my vacation date. And so what happened was, when I tried to get some days off before even my vacation, my manager said, it wasn't possible. And so upon a lot of negotiations, what he finally came to a decision, and it told me that you're going to have to take your vacation right away instead of waiting for the due date. And so, as you know, you can actually schedule a store opening and closing, but you cannot actually schedule the arrival of a newborn baby. And that is really very important to me, that to be with my family. So I had no choice than to just accept the fact that I'm taking my vacation right away and being able to spend some time with my family. It's very important to me.
That is such a sad story. I mean, I'm glad that you were able to spend time with your new baby, and congratulations.
Thank you.
To you and your wife. But that is, one of the things that we know is that is such an important time of life, and that especially having fathers there is so important to both to the mom, but also to the child's future well-being, which is important to all of us. That it's disheartening that your employer was challenging on that. And Tamara, do you have you had experience? Are you lucky enough to have paid sick days?
I work for the largest cosmetic company in probably the world. And there was an incident recently where my back, because, we stand all day, my back was in excruciating pain, and I had to take 1,200 milligrams of pain medication just to alleviate the pain, because I don't have paid sick days. And to me, it doesn't make sense, because I make, on average a day, I make at least weekly, at least $5,000 a week. And that's just me alone, probably more for them. And I can't call out and still be able to take care of my family when I'm in excruciating pain. And I've been with the company for 18 months now and haven't earned one sick day.
Have you ever, Malik?
When it comes to being sick, I believe that no one is immune to sickness. Everybody gets sick at some point in time. Children often get sick and need immediate medical care. I remember one time my daughter was sick, and I had to be with my daughter in the hospital. My wife was pregnant 7 months, and so I had this pressure from management to come to work. So I had to leave my sick daughter in the hospital with my 7-month pregnant wife. And this is something that is not right. It's about families being comfortable and not having to choose between taking care of their families and, their jobs. I shouldn't have to be pressured to go to work just because I want to keep my job and leave my sick daughter on a hospital bed.
Well, and the very kinds of things, just to interject a little bit of economics in here, the very kinds of things that you're talking about are good for you, clearly. If you're able to be there with your baby, that's good, and not being able to go to work when your back hurts, clearly good. But it's also good for your company. I mean, you're not the most productive employee when you're in pain or when you're on meds. I mean, that can be really rough. And if your children aren't being well cared for, then we're not caring for the next generation, and we're not going to be able to be the best educated, most competitive economy moving forward. So it really is a tragedy on both counts. So have you ever been punished for not being able to show up for work when you were sick, Tamara? Has there been an example of that, like where you weren't able to power through?
Punished? I was threatened, not punished. There was an incident where my daughter, I have a 6-year-old, she was in the hospital, and I called and let them know that I wasn't able to come in. And the manager's only concern was, well, who's going to take your place, because we have a very high sales goal today. And my thoughts are, well, my daughter's in the hospital. I'm not sure what's wrong with her. That's really not my concern, but I am calling to let you know that I'm not able to come in. The following day when I went to work, she was very upset, and she spoke to me very harshly and told me that because I did not have anyone to pick up my slack as far as caring for my children to help me out, that she would cut my hours. And, you know, that was pretty much what happened. And my hours fluctuate weekly, so I have no way of really knowing if she did that, because they fluctuate on a regular basis. And, you know, to me it's unfair. I can see if I called out, because, you know, it was something serious, and I did give them notice. And those are the type of things that happens with retail workers. And so what happens is they send their children to school sick, which is why my daughter is sick. Literally every 3 to 4 weeks she has a new cold. Because I've seen children, like I will bring my daughter to school and the children are throwing up in front of the school. The parent just left 10 minutes ago. You can't tell me you didn't know your child was sick. But a lot of people choose work because they have to pay rent. And if they don't go to work, they fear that they're going to lose their jobs.
It's an impossible choice. It's not a choice that one of the richest countries on the planet should be making workers make. Well, you know, we do have a law here in the United States, the Family and Medical Leave Act, that gives workers that work for large employers who have more than who work for large employers to have unpaid job-protected leave to care for a new child, when they have a serious illness, or to care for a serious illness of a family member, just your parents or your child, so not your aunts or uncles or anybody else, or domestic partners. In some states that's different, but nationally.